I'd just like to share this article with the British people as an example of extreme stupidity. And, you know, that's the Icelandic people who, you know, they're so selfish. They are so selfish. They actually said no to the banks. You know, when their government explained to them that the banks had crashed, you know, squandered all the money and committed fraud and theft and stuff, and now they were going to crash, and so the government wanted to borrow more money off the banks in order to give it back to the banks and to bail them out, and then the public was going to pay the bailout back, and they were going to pay interest on it as well, and even, you know, have opportunities for a banking bail-in, so the banks can just, you know, take money out of their savings, or even for building societies to have a bail-in and take their houses off them. You know, and all these people, you know, they're so stupid that they all came out banging pots and pans around Parliament and surrounded every MP's house, banging pots and pans, just saying no, just standing there, you know. And it's like, what have they said no to? You know, they've got no food banks. They've like got lost out totally. All the things Britain's got, you know, 0-hour contracts, and food banks, and, you know, no benefits for people, because that's what you're supposed to do. You know, British people are strong. We understand. We love the bankers. We love our social superiors. We understand that we're just plebs. We're stock. We understand that democracy is just a facade for the stupid among us to cling to. We understand that we need to give everything that we've got to help the bankers and all their corporations, you know, because, and this is what I mean about these stupid people. They think they can live by a law of right equals might, but we know in Britain that the law is might equals right. The more money and power you got, the more crimes you can commit, and, you know, you can just tell packs of lies, and everybody will just accept them, and the BBC will repeat them as truth, because, you know, that's what we understand in Britain, that we're just stock, we're just fodder, we're corporate fodder, and that's how we raise our children to be. You know, we don't mind. We're happy for privatised social services to come and take our children off us when we're poor, to say that we're a future emotional risk. You know, we're happy to witness social services, privatised corporate social services, getting £1,800 for a week for every child on their books. We're happy for privatised childcare homes to be getting £200,000 a year of government money, you know, that the government borrows to pay them. We love our food banks, you know, and we love working for our benefits. And, you know, we understand that it's important for impoverished 18 to 21-year-olds to, you know, maybe homeless for a few years, because of course they're not entitled to housing benefit. And yeah, you know, parents who now have a third child, if they're on working tax credit, you know, yeah, all right, they won't get any money, any working tax credit for the third child. You know, we're happy about that, okay, because, you know, we'll be happy just to live in poverty. And obviously, if we do have a third child and we can't afford to look after it properly, well, you know we can fall back on privatised social services to take it off us and give it to G4S. And that makes us happy that we produced a child, women especially. You know, it delights them to be thinking that, yeah, they've produced a child, been through a pregnancy, give birth to a child in order to provide G4S, a privatised childcare provider, with £200,000 a year for each child they take off us. But what? No, these people here, oh no, they're going to govern themselves. They're going to have a proper democracy. because they just can't get real. British people get real. We understand. You don't arrest criminal rich people. You report on your suspicious neighbours. You report the local youth. You've just sniffed marijuana on him. You know, you report him to the police. If you get really angry or fed up, you know, you can batter your wife or your partner, or you could take it out on an immigrant. A gang of you could go and kill an immigrant, you know, or give a bit of hate to a Muslim, because that's what we understand. That's the way to relieve any pressures we're feeling by society. We can take it out on Muslims. We can take it out on immigrants. And really, we don't need an NHS, do we? You know, obviously it's got to earn money for the corporations. I mean, unless we help the New World Order, it's just gonna crumble. If every nation did this, there'd be no New World Order, because, you know, but Britain, no, we're civilised. We don't do things like this. We don't stand out in freezing temperatures, banging our pots and pans, you know, and that's why I've got such pride in Britain, because, you know, we've showed compassion and forgiveness to the bankers, and instead we've, you know, persecuted the people that are just useless eaters, like the sick and disabled and the poor and the immigrants. You know, they're the people that need to go, need to stamp on them, you know. And we're so civilised, you know, we voted ourselves out of the EU. We don't need human rights. We don't need workers' rights. We don't need child protection directives. We don't need environmental laws. We just don't need none of those things, because we're British and we understand. We're not human. We don't even pretend to be human. We're corporate fodder. We're stock. Even as Ian Duncan Smith called us on national TV, he said we were stock, and we accept that because we've got humility, you know. And I mean, those poor bankers, they've even arrested and imprisoned the bankers. I mean, it's just unthinkable how any people could do that to bankers. It's just so disgusting. When really all they had to do was just give everything they had and agree to dump an unrepayable debt on the next generation, and they've said no. I mean, what can you say?